So what makes chiropractors different to physios and osteos? This is part 3 in this series I'm doing on our chiropractic philosophy for the rest of us, or your chiropractic why, some of the truths that I stand by that I think could be helpful, and basically just helping to resolve the chiropractic identity crisis, why so many of us feel like we don't really know what we do, and we don't really know what we're doing for patients, and what makes us different to other professions. So if you haven't seen the others, go back and watch those. Part 1, I was talking about from the patient-centered approach, why that's a key part of our philosophy and why that's a key part of being any modern healthcare practitioner. The second part, I dove into what I believe the mechanics of the adjustment are, what I think we actually do with patients, what I think is actually happening under the surface when we're adjusting, and how I use that in my practice in a way that makes sense to patients, that doesn't make a load of claims that I don't think the science can back up, but also gives me confidence in what I'm actually doing, and respects the science that's out there, but also acknowledges the fact that it doesn't have as many answers as some people tend to think. So that was those early ones. Now I want to talk about what makes us unique as a profession. Now, full disclosure here, I work with physiotherapists and osteopaths as well, and I'm sure that just like last video will have triggered some people, in this video I'm going to say some things that osteos and physios might disagree with, probably some things that chiropractors disagree with as well. I'm not looking to get into any big debates. I'm not hanging on my hat and saying this is absolutely true, but from my experience I want to share what I believe we focus on in general as chiropractors, and what our unique skill set that we bring to the world of healthcare is. I'm not knocking any of the others. I'm not saying that they're lesser than us. I'm just saying this is what I believe we do better than anyone else, because without being able to articulate to my patients and myself why somebody should see a chiropractor, what we're going to do different they might not get from an osteopath or a physio or a GP or a sports therapist, then I'm just going to disappear into a sea of sameness, and I'm not going to have any confidence in my recommendations, because I'm not really going to know why they should see me and not somebody else. So the identity is going to help us develop better confidence in ourselves. That will result in better communication and better care for our patients. Now, before we get into anything, I do want to address the elephant in the room, which is patient expectations. It doesn't matter what you believe your own identity is and what you think you do. The public tends to set that fairly well, and it's very, very hard to go upstream against that. I know some practitioners who have spent most of their careers trying to be a version of a chiropractor that is not what people expect, and it is a constant exercise in frustration. The honest truth is, patients expect us to be experts in the spine, and I talked about last time how, to me, being an expert in the spine means I have to be an expert in extremities, but most of our patients are going to come to us with back and neck pain. So we need to be experts in that. The other thing is they are coming expecting manipulation. Unless you are one of the very few chiropractors who has built a career on low force techniques, whether that's McTimoney or whether that's activator, absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. You can be someone who says, I'm a no-crack chiropractor. That's a way you could market yourself and build a successful practice. But for the vast majority of practitioners out there, we are manipulating spines, and that is what patients see us as doing. So to me, a patient comes in expecting hands-on assessment. They expect me to feel and palpate what's going on, and they expect me to deliver some skilled adjustments, some skilled manipulation to restore normal motion to that area there. Now, those of you who think, yeah, but what about soft tissue and rehab and all that stuff? That's true. I don't believe this is a limitation, though. I believe this is an opportunity, because the patients who come to see us are self-selecting for those things. And we know the research on contextual effects shows that if patients believe a certain approach is going to help them, it is more likely to help them. So statistically, although you could say that, well, if you average out the research, manipulation versus massage versus needling versus rehab, that you average them out and they all perform fairly similarly. Sure, that's not very helpful on an N=1 situation when a patient comes to see me. But also, patients coming to see me as a chiropractor, they've already self-selected. So statistically, they are more likely to respond to manipulation than anything else. Just based on that alone, if I wanted to take a broad brush approach, I could still defend adjusting first there. Okay? So that's one thing there, and they expect us to do it with mastery. Now, I don't believe that we should just treat everyone exactly the same, obviously. But if there was one skill that I was going to master in terms of treatment as a chiropractor, that would be adjusting, because it's what my patients are expecting. If I want to deliver other skills on top of that, great. I talked a while ago in some earlier videos about you should master one skill, get really, really good at it. And then when you've really mastered that, which takes about a decade, maybe more, then you can add another skill and spend a decade mastering that. And then you've got two real, masterful skills that can combine to create something really special. Doesn't mean you can't ever use the other things, but I really do believe we should be working hard to deliver that really, really skillfully and putting in the effort, not waiting for more research to catch up and do what I suspect is that over time show that it does make more of a difference than we think, because the research we have on it is not that great. I've looked at it, it's pretty weak and it's pretty limited there. So patients come to see us expecting manipulation. That is what makes us different. Now, physios, they can deliver manipulation, and believe me, physios are training in this more and more because they're seeing the value in it, ironically, at a time when chiropractors are poo-pooing it a little bit. They're experts in rehab, in load management, in building up strength and exercise there. So they're not placing an emphasis on accessory motion. That's something that we do, I talked about last time. It's more active and passive range of motion there. So restoring the full mechanics in all three directions, that's something that we can do as chiropractors there. Osteopaths do take a full whole body approach, and I think often they do it better than chiropractors. We tend to pigeonhole into regions a little bit more there. Traditional osteopathy has more of an emphasis on circulation and on fluid dynamics as well. I think there's some crossover there with some of the more vitalistic approaches, even if they don't see it yet. But that's not really my area. That's not how I choose to practice there. So they also tend to use longer lever techniques. So again, similar to physios restoring active and passive range of motion, osteopaths might restore regional motion there, but there's less of a focus on average with the specific joint play, again with that accessory motion there, and with using adjusting as a primary tool. So there are osteopaths who can do that, absolutely, but the vast majority will be using longer lever techniques, more of a kind of fluid damage balancing approach there a little bit as well. So as chiropractors, it's that specializing in restoring the full accessory motion to specific segments there, correcting that abnormal joint function, using short lever techniques and mastering manipulation and adjusting as the way that we do that. My advice is that I think we should also not focus on the spine and do what the osteos and physios do better sometimes, which is look at a full body approach, include the extremities. But certainly that is what patients expect us to do there. So if we combine all this together, that's what I think makes us different. It doesn't mean that we can treat everyone and osteos and physios are rubbish. I'm in the UK. Physios have the unfortunate disadvantage of a lot of patients getting that from the NHS. And NHS physiotherapy and private practice physiotherapy are completely different. NHS physio is very, they're hamstrung, they're handcuffed, they're really limited in what they can do. A lot of patients go, that didn't work. That was kind of rubbish. They fobbed me off with some exercises. And then they come and see us, and it's easy for us to go, physiotherapy, that's rubbish. But bear in mind that we only see each other's failures. And skilled physiotherapists who have really put in the time and the effort can deliver a lot of things that I can't do. I will happily refer out to them at times. So I'm not knocking them, but I do believe we offer something unique that the other professions don't there. So essentially, we can kind of boil this down into what I consider like a bit of a 3-pillar framework to this. So number one, I think that really it's about having the expertise and the detection. So mastering motion palpation. I know the research is not showing it's as reliable as we'd like it to, but also the research is very limited. And when you look at some other factors that are realistic in a clinical setting, like getting the patient's feedback and actually, are we adjusting one level or are we adjusting multiple? Like I said, that is actually, it's reliable enough and there's nothing better out there. So I think we should be mastering that. Not getting obsessed over the segment. As long as you feel like things are moving, whichever segment was restricted, we've got that moving. That's absolutely fine. So being able to detect something that's wrong and being able to detect whether it improved or not, I think that's really key. Then you've got, as well as detection expertise, there's the corrective expertise. Are we actually able to deliver skilled adjustments there to the spine and to the extremities there? And immediately bringing that back in with the detection again. So we test, treat, retest, doing that on a loop. I think we need to be able to mastering those two things because that's what patients expect there. And then there's the professional integrity. So mastering our own lane first. No other profession is going to take the time to master those two things there. Not in the way that we apply them there. That's something unique that chiropractic brings that others can't. And if you don't master them, your patients just can't get them. So master your own lane first. Do what the patients expect. Do what we know we can do. And then over time, if you want to broaden your skill set, absolutely fine. Or if you want to do what I often do and collaborate with other professionals who already have that skill set and are really good at it, and then work out how to share and co-manage cases there, that's really key as well. So I'd also, one of my final kind of truths is I do not believe that chiropractic is the right approach for everybody for their particular situation at the time. I believe it has a role to play in everybody at some point through their life. Absolutely. I don't think there's many people who would not benefit at some level from chiropractic care. But when a patient comes to see me with a particular problem, my responsibility, if I take them on board and I say, I will help you with that problem, is to then work out, am I the best person to help them right now? Or is someone else, whether it's an acupuncturist or a sports therapist or a physio or an osteo, is there someone else I know who is better able to help them resolve this problem at this current time? Doesn't mean, therefore, I never see them again. Doesn't mean I may not have a role in that. But I do believe we should be specialists in working out what we do, but also specialists in working out what others do there as well. And doing that ties it all back to video 1 and all about the ethics side of things. So really working out what is it a patient wants and then offering my best solutions and not worrying about over-promising, not worrying about underserving, simply going, if I can help this person, what is the absolute best way that I could do that? What would the perfect plan look like? And then offering that. If they can't do that or they don't want to do that and I have a plan B, I can offer a plan B. And I'm not attached to whether they take me up on that. I'm also not attached to whether they come to me or see someone else. If there's someone else I think can help them better, I would far rather than see them. I have a patient at the moment who I've been seeing. I actually said at the start, I think there are other people who can help you better than I can. They still wanted to take on care with me. It's been a few sessions and we're not making progress, part in my opinion, because there's other people who can help them better. That's actually more frustrating, if you don't know that, if you're taking on all these patients all the time, rather than know that there are other things you can do. Because I know there's other options out there, I'm just checking in and asking them, you still happy with this, or do you want to see some other people? So that co-management, actually, it's a big, big pressure relief for me individually, because I know I don't have to have all the answers and I don't have to master it. And I feel way happier and more comfortable referring somebody out when I'm confident they're going to get them better results than taking on a case where I'm not sure if I can help someone. And now I feel like I've made a promise, or not a promise, but I've taken them on with the expectation they'll get better and I might not meet that. So being able to do that, be a master of your lane and then know what the other lanes out there are and how you can help. Anyway, this has been 3 videos of me basically talking about myself and my own beliefs. And obviously I'm no stranger to sharing my opinions, as those of you who've known me for a while and follow me for a while will know. But again, my point of doing this is not to create a definition that is ironclad and absolutely definite. I'm not providing references. I'm not even really looking to get into a debate with this if someone's looking to change my mind. If you have questions or there's interesting things to discuss that come off it, by all means. But these videos are not about me telling you what I think you should do. What I want you to do is I want you to think about, what do you believe chiropractic does? What is your chiropractic philosophy, or your chiropractic why, or your chiropractic truths? I can't think of ways of describing it that don't come with certain baggage and certain things there. But what is it that you deep down believe you really do for your patients? Because if you don't know that, you cannot have confidence in what you do. You will not inspire the same confidence in your patients. And you can come to my courses and I can teach you communication skills and you can learn amazing adjusting skills and all these other seminars there. But deep down, if we haven't addressed that foundation, none of it's going to work that well. That's why I'm actually shifting to including more of this in the events that I do. If you're a new graduate and you do want some help, there are still tickets available for the Clinical Confidence Masterclass. We're going to be diving into some of this stuff as we do that. It's half a day with me. It's half a day with my friend Jason teaching adjusting. It's on Saturday, the 4th of October. I'll pop a link below for that if you want to learn more, but that's not really the point of these videos. This isn't like a funnel to sell tickets or anything like that. Really, it's for you to think about, what is chiropractic to you and what are you actually doing? Because I promise you, when you do the work and you think about that and you work it out and you can define that and you can communicate that, practice gets a lot better and you feel a lot more confident in what you do. So hopefully this has given you some more questions than answers, but the questions will be useful ones that will lead to your own answers as well. Again, anything you want to discuss, by all means, happy to discuss this further in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you soon for another video.